Hey gang, AV here. Welcome to my review of the Hiya Toys Injustice 2 Aquaman figure. Here he is in the packaging. As you can see, it is a window box, so you can see more or less all the items he comes with. He's a pretty cool looking figure. As far as I understand, very accurate to the video game. So that's the front of the box. Here's the top of the box. Here's the side of the box. Here's the other side of the box. There's the bottom. And here's the back, which has a couple extra product shots as well as some Lego stuff and bada bing, bada boom. So that's enough with the box. Let's get the figure out of the box and see how cool he is out of it. I opened this box previously. Usually it is taped closed. Pull the figure tray out, and as usual, we're gonna have to look at the insert card, which is just the same card for all the other figures in this line. It's the Daily Planet globe in disarray. I assume it's one of the locations, backgrounds that you can have your fights in the game. So, as usual, the figure is in a two-part plastic tray. Take the top part off. We're gonna have a look at the accessories first, and most notably is his trident, which looks really cool. I do really like the sculpt on this. They did a great job on this. It has a little bit of paint, like gold paint at the bottom, but other than that, it doesn't appear to have any special paint detail, although it does reflect the light pretty nicely. I'm not sure if that's the plastic or if they put a little bit of a reflective paint on there. I'm not positive, but it's nice regardless. Looks very good. He has a display base, which is standard for this toy line. He has a single foot peg there, and you'll notice that on all four sides it has those notches. Those notches are meant for these H-shaped tabs to plug into. This way you can put two bases side by side, have them locked together, and then you can actually create a floor if you have enough figures. Very cool. Big fan of that. I'm a big fan of display bases, as long as they give them to you. And he has two sets of extra hands. This is his extra right hand, which is a grasping hand. It's very tiny, as you can see. We'll swap that out in a minute. And here is his left hand, which is an open hand. Again, we'll swap this out in a second. And now, finally, the figure. Here he is. Very nice sculpt on him, as usual. Hiya Toys. This is soft plastic, the harness on his chest, and it is removable, I suppose, if you do decide to take the figure apart. This is also soft plastic to allow his articulation to work a little bit easier. However, it is just glued in, so you do want to be careful, because that will come off if you are a little rough with it. And as I've mentioned before, you see the hinges here. That's unpainted PVC. These figures will break if you're not careful with them. So these are definitely not kids' toys. They're not meant to be played with. They're just meant to be posed, and even then, they can break on you if you're not careful. That's the one drawback to this line. Alright, so his sculpt is very good. I like the costume design. Very nice. And the paint is excellent as well. So, always expect quality from this company. It's just the materials they use are a little iffy, that's all. But anyway, so let's get on to his articulation. Here's his head's on a ball joint, which can do a full 360. Can look up slightly and down pretty good. Actually, it feels like a barbell joint in there. So yeah, it's a barbell joint in there, not just a ball joint. It's a barbell joint. Alright, so anyway, his arms can do a full 360. They can go up about this high. There is nothing at the bicep. His elbows can bend about 80 degrees, and they rotate almost they go full 360. Again, see the hinge unpainted on the bottom side at least. His hands are on a ball joint. Can do a full 360 there, and I definitely recommend spinning it around a few times before you try to swap it out. Heat that up as well as you can. That way you can hopefully prevent it from breaking on you. You definitely don't want to apply too much pressure. Oh wow, I pulled the whole peg out. Alright. There we go. Come on. Come on. The joints on these figures are, like I said, are a little iffy, and another drawback is the wrists are just a little too narrow in my opinion. They just don't look right from certain angles because they're just too narrow. But it is what it is. Alright, so that's the other hand that he comes with on there. I guess this is his swimming hand, so you can actually have him paddling. Because he's got all this armor on his right hand, let me try to do the articulation here as well. Like I said, this is pliable plastic, but it is just glued on at the one tab, so you are going to want to be very careful with it. You can do a full 360 there. You can put his arm up about the same height. Nothing at the bicep again. Full 360 at the elbow. You bend about 60 degrees, I guess. Well, yeah, it's like a 60, 70 degree bend out there at that elbow. Rotates at the wrist. Again, heat this up. I gotta swap out his hand so I can get his trident in there. There's actually some paint flash on mine. There we go. There we are. Okay, he has a rib cage crunch. A decent amount of range of motion there. He also has a ball joint at his waist, but unlike the Green Lantern figure I just reviewed, it is very, very stiff. I'm not sure if I could do a full 360 with this or not, but as you can see, the motion is there. You can get some poses out of him. His legs are very stiff. They can go out. They can go up. There is no upper thigh swivel on these. He's got double jointed knees, so he can get his heel back about that far. His ankles are on hinges, so he can get his feet back very far, which is good for swimming. And he can point his toes up about that high, and he does have a rocker joint at his feet as well. That is one thing I've noticed about this toy line. They concentrate more on the sculpt and the paint and the characters, trying to make them the likenesses as accurate as possible, to the point where they actually don't use the same molds very often. They like the articulation between this figure and the Green Lantern figure I just reviewed are very different. That means they're all original sculpts. So, okay, so his hand, it does hold the trident very well, although I wouldn't put anything else in his hand because his trident is so narrow that if you stretch that hand out too much, he won't be able to hold it. All right, so let's get him standing up, and we can do some size comparisons. Put his hands away before I use them. Okay, let's bring him in a little closer to the camera. All right, here he is next to a 3 3/4 inch vintage G.I. Joe figure, Snake Eyes. As you can see, he is noticeably taller. That's because Aquaman is a 1/18 scale 4-inch figure. Here he is next to a 4-inch modern G.I. Joe figure, the Dollar General Cobra Trooper. And scale-wise, you can see he fits in just fine. If I can get the Trooper to stand. There he is. Alright. And since I do a lot of boss fight stuff on my channel, here he is next to a Bio Blue Boss Fight Studios blank, which you can see he measures up just fine. And here he is next to a Marvel Universe Captain America figure, just in case you want to do a crossover. Perfect scale for 1/18. He's going to look great on your shelf with your other figures. I do recommend him. I don't have any gripes with this figure much at all. If anything, it's just the fact that I had to be very careful with that right arm and not to stretch out his hand too much. The joints on these figures, once again, I can't stress it enough. You do want to be very careful. I have had these figures break on me on a video, actually, while I was reviewing it. So when you open these up, you do want to use a hair dryer. You want to heat up those joints. You want to loosen everything up as best you can before you actually try to crack them loose, because the paint may have gone in there and dried, and I don't want to see your stuff break. So anyway, if you like this video, check out my channel. If you like what you see there, then please subscribe. As always, thanks for watching.